All right, today we're going to be talking about the Raised PTO on a Fordson Major tractor. These don't come standard. Um, they are getting harder and harder to find, and they are worth a bit on the second hand or the wrecking yard circuit. I have seen some of these go for anywhere between 400 and 800 Australian dollars. And you'll see why. They're pretty valuable. It all has to do with the hydraulic engagement and your 3-point linkage. Fordson Majors came out, in the era of power farming, when they were mainly ploughing, seeding, and pulling their load. With the 3-point linkage, the Fordsons could do a whole lot of things like topping, using augers, slashes, things like that. Now, unfortunately, with the Fordsons, to have the 3-point linkage working, you need the hydraulic pump working, and the hydraulic pump works off the PTO shaft, which means you have to have the PTO engaged. So let's say you've been slashing your tractor, you've parked it in the shed, and you've come back the next day. To raise the 3-point linkage off the ground, you have to engage the PTO, which means you're going to engage that slasher and you're going to be flicking rocks and debris, and you're going to have the slasher working where you don't want it. With the advent of the raised PTO, you could have your traditional PTO shaft engaged and run the hydraulics, but with this addition of a second engagement lever, it meant you could disengage this raised PTO from working. So you could lift your slasher, lift your auger, move it with a 3-point linkage, and not have the implement running off the PTO. For instance, if you're lifting the auger up and transporting it, you don't want that auger engaged and running. And the raised PTO enabled that. So we'll go in and have a look at what I'm explaining. So, as you can see in here, we've got our hydraulic pump. You can see that there is the PTO shaft coming in, and that bottom gear there is on the PTO. So if that's moving, it's running this gear on the hydraulic pump and running your hydraulics. So you need to have the PTO running to run your hydraulics to lift your 3-point linkage. Now again, I'm going to take this out, currently unbolted, so we can see it a little bit easier. Now, if for instance, traditionally, I'll just engage it to demonstrate, your PTO would be running the hydraulic pump, and you have this spinning. Having the PTO shaft spinning when you don't need it to or want it to also adds an element of danger. We've all seen the horrific injuries PTO shafts can cause people. So your traditional Fordson PTO spline spinning means the shaft inside spinning. Now, with this engagement lever here, so say I disengage this PTO, there we go, a bit loose. So this PTO is now engaged, which means it's not running the PTO shaft, and vice versa. Say the PTO shaft is running, and your PTO output isn't. So you can run your hydraulic pump, run your 3-point linkage, and not worry about having your implement engaged. Again, lovely, easy to reach lever. Yeah. Now to remove them, it's quite simple. 4 bolts there and 2 on the bottom. Now this bolt here doesn't actually come out. It's, see there, it's on the engagement lever. So you can't actually pull that bolt all the way out. So just leave that loose, you'll be able to pull it out. And then you can see there the PTO shaft going all the way up in there. Gearbox, you pull it out, there's an internal gear, slides on and off, really easy. Again, this thing does weigh quite a bit. If you've got one, you're going to want to look after it, so be careful. But yeah, that is the overview of the pros of having a raised PTO on a Fordson Major tractor. Hopefully this helps someone.